Okay. All right.
There you are, the birth of Kiwanis right there. Come on, don't get me interested in this stuff. I don't want to be on camera.
You don't want to be on camera.
That used to be the Mayfield Chop House.
That was
That was a very, very fine restaurant. And Crazy Craig bought it probably about 20 years ago, and he realized in short order that he wasn't going to be able to keep operating it as a restaurant because there just wasn't the call for it down here. So he, you keep showing that camera.
All right, it's over here. Okay.
So he called it Crazy Craig's.
He called it Crazy.
And he lived on the top floor, and he had the bar on the main floor and the bar for a while on the second floor. He used to do like after hours gigs and stuff on the second floor.
Ah.
It sat vacant for a long time. He split town, I don't know, last I heard he went to Florida. I haven't seen him for about 6 or 7 years. He was crazy, very aptly titled, but a cool guy, cool guy. You know, he was one of those kind of people who was open to anything and to anyone. You know, could talk to anybody, have a good time. And,
wow.
you know, I asked about him recently, some people that I knew, that mutual friends, but lost track of them. This here, when I opened my bar 13, 14 years ago, this was called Ciros, even though it wasn't owned by the Ciros from the chain. It had been at one time. It was S-E-R-O apostrophe S, and there was a chain of Ciros. They were like Coney Islands, downtown, like Greek Coney Islands. And but a couple had it when I moved in. They were called Connie and Dale Lindinger, and they had a very nice little restaurant here. I used to come over here for lunch a lot. They had a very good business for a while, and then it just started to tail off. And then it sat vacant for a long time. It closed, I want to say, about maybe 1985, around there. And it's been Larry's Back Alley and different incarnations for probably at least 10 years around here. Do you know what this is next door here?
What
right here.
One?
Here.
No, that's a synagogue, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
And they were having some problems a couple years ago because they were down to, last I heard they were down to like 6 or 7 members. And they were missing something that was required to hold their services. They were thinking about closing it, but it looks like it's still
going, huh?
Yeah. It looks like it's still happening. The downtown synagogue.
I like the colored panes. I've always noticed that, but I didn't think it was operating. It just looked kind of run down.
Well, I used to see the members around here a lot. See them at Miami Deals and around down here, and they were very old. Almost all men. I don't remember any women being members, and they would have their little yarmulkes on, you know. Right here, they just tore down a few years ago where the parking lot is what used to be Cousins Menswear, K-O-S-I-N''S. Probably still hear their advertising. Well, actually, I don't know that you do. I think they just finally closed their store in Southfield a couple years. Actually, in the last year, if I'm correct. But Cousins was a very well-known men's clothier downtown. They've been here for many years. They originated right here, and they were open here until I would say maybe 8 or 9 years ago, and then they finally tore this down about 5 or 6 years ago. Now you have to understand my time frame may not be right on because, you know, the years just get by. I mean, you know, and you know,
well, you know a lot.
I actually well, you know what? This is more relative stuff. I can tell you some things from when I was a kid because I used to sneak down here on the bus. My parents didn't know it. They knew it later years, but they didn't know it at the time. I used to get on the Great Lakes Transit at Schaefer and Jefferson and River Rouge. It cost me 10 cents or 20 cents, and I'd come down here and walk all over, and there was people everywhere.
There's a lot more populators. I mean, people were out compared to...
Oh, it was packed. I used to get lost in the crowds.
Wow. Like kind of New York in a way, right?
Oh, yeah. Very much so. You know, let's go back up this way.
You want to go this way? Okay.
Yeah. Do you know where the first Kresge's building is?
No.
I'm going to show that to you. Okay. You know, it's interesting because I don't know that much history about your building, though I've known a lot of people who've lived in there over about the last 15 years.
A lot of people you know?
Yeah. Well, I've had a number of employees that live there, too.
Oh, okay.
Matt, I think, lived in your space, I'm pretty sure.
Who's Matt?
Matt DeCawson was a bartender, worked for me. Was a bar back and then a bartender. It just kind of disappeared about a year and a half ago. Another one of those industrial buildings. You know, is that the industrial?
Is that the industrial
yeah,
building?
That's the industrial there. Yeah, that's it. I have a friend that I grew up with on the southwest side and in River Rouge, and she's an architect in San Francisco now. She's been out there about 15 years. And she comes back every couple of years and she says, you know, Skip, I miss the architecture. It's interesting to hear that about Detroit, you know?
That there's architecture here? Yeah.
When you live in a place like she lives in San Francisco, you know?
Right, it's kind of new. Is that a new, I mean,
Well,
it's,
and that's
it was built
exactly
up
the point
when?
that she made, was everything out there is new,
Yeah.
you know? And she likes a lot of the older stuff.
Oh yeah, so do I. I love these old buildings. Actually, I get a kick just looking at, I love that building up there. What's that building that,
The big tall one?
Yeah, the tall one with the antenna on top.
That's the Penobscot building.
That building is wonderful. Looks great. It looks like it's something
Well,
from.
that's true Art Deco. I mean, that's you
Okay.
know, that is a skyscraper. That is what was being built in the 10s and 20s, in the in the turn of the century, the 10s and 20s and the 30s. That is, yeah, it's quite a building. I had a lot of experience with that when I was a kid because my father had his offices in there, so I used to come down and go in that building.
Where do you want to go?
This is where the old famous store used to be.
Oh, so the famous store was here.
It was right here.
This is like the original then, right?
I don't think it was the actual very original. I think it was the second one, but this is where it was at for a number of years. And they just tore this down about 6 or 7 years ago. Okay? And then the famous door,
Uh
Jerry Sebastian owned it when I used to come over here. He was an ex-Detroit cop.
huh. An
And
ex-Detroit cop used to own the red door? I thought there was an after.
The famous door.
Oh, the famous
The famous door,
Oh,
not the red door. The famous door.
The famous door, okay.
And then he moved, or the name somehow got moved up there to where, is that called the famous door up there now? Or is it the grind?
red door. I'm sorry. No,
I'm talking about the one we just walked by.
That's called the grind.
Okay, because for a while that was called the famous door too.
Okay. And now, so the famous door one was over here, or
Yeah,
no? Okay.
it was here, and then the name got moved up there at some point, and then the name disappeared again. And this is all in the last, 4 or 5 years, around there. Over there, where the red awning is at, downstairs from 2 South.
Yeah.
Okay, that used to be a restaurant called La Lanterna.
La Lanterna.
Yeah, and that closed about, I want to say about almost 20 years ago. Very nice Italian restaurant. And of course, you see Sonny's?
Yeah.
That was open till about maybe 10 years ago. That was Sonny Wilson. Sonny Wilson was a very well-known celebrity bar owner in Detroit. May still be alive, I don't know. It was kind of a fun bar. It could be a little treacherous at times. But,
Oh, really?
yeah.
All kinds of people going in there.
Yeah, it was unusual, but Sonny got to be pretty ornery and cranky in his later years. Not really bad, but just a little difficult at times.
Made it not as fun to go there anymore.
Not that I can blame him. I mean, shit, I was ornery and cranky after being down here for 13 years.
That happens,
I'm not even a senior citizen yet.
The city does that to you, doesn't it? It's funny.
Well, probably any place would do it to you.
Yeah.
I came down here because I wanted to be down here.
Right.
And things just didn't turn out. So what can you say? Let's go and look at this
Okay.
plaque over here, because I don't think I've seen this one. Now, you've been into theaters.
Once. It's kind
Okay.
of cool though, yeah.
Well, this is relatively recent. Let's take a look at this. Theodore's is Ted. I can't think of his last name right now. And he had a restaurant right at the corner of Park and Adams for many years. In what used to be a Quickie donut shop. I used to go into Quickies back in the 70s. And then Ted had a restaurant there, and then he closed it up. This was a McDonald's. And this closed down, maybe 10 or 11 years ago. And then Ted got in there, calls it Theodore's. If you haven't met...
What's Finney Barn then? What's
we're going to
this?
find out. conducted one of the principal passenger depots of the Underground Railroad in the Detroit area. Okay, you know what the Underground Railroad was.
Yeah, actually that's over by Eastern Market, isn't it?
Well, there's been a lot of stops around here. Finney, a tailor by trade, later became a hotel keeper and was in the city. He was comparatively safe. Finney Barns served as a hiding place for runaways until they could reach the riverbank and freedom. There's more about that over by Greektown.
Okay.
You've seen the plaque over at the at the Baptist Church.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever read it. Yeah.
Well,
So that's
the old buildings. This building right here. I want to point this out because
United Way building.
Yeah, this is an
Sorry.
example. It's one of the best examples of what needs to be done in downtown Detroit. And as far as I know, I've never seen anything written about this. I've never seen any type of ratata about this. And this should be really built up. They took this old building here. They started on this about 10 or 11 years ago, and they completed about probably 9 years ago or 10 years ago. And look at that, isn't that beautiful? And there's probably at least 200 or 300 people working in that building.
Yeah, they fixed it up nicely.
Yes, and the inside is not stunning, but it's very nicely done. They did it very well. I always like to point it out to people.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have it eventually. I'm just saying that's the kind of stuff that in the Opera House I think are the kinds of things that are going to save downtown eventually. Getting a company in that takes a building of that size and says, you know, look at how beautiful that is.
It is. They really fixed it up
clean.
nice. Yeah.
You know, new windows.
Yeah, that's all they needed. They kept the architecture, just fixed the windows, the parts that had problems. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been in here?
No, not really. No, I haven't been in that building.
Well, this closed just a couple years ago, and there was a big stink about it because it was basically pretty empty for 10 or 15 years anyway. This is a true Art Deco skyscraper, a 20s skyscraper. This is one of the most beautiful buildings downtown. David Stott building. I always get it mixed up and say like the Griswold Tower or stuff like that. I think some people refer to it as that. Really go and take a peek in the, you're not going to be able to see very much, but you'll get at least a little slight idea of what the lobby looks like. I don't think you're going to be able to film it. It's too dark.
Oh yeah, you know what? I walked in here once. Wait a minute. Oh, I was about to walk in here once. No, I actually haven't gone in here yet.
You can't see the colors in the ceilings, and you can't see the brass that well on the doors, but that is an absolutely beautiful building. And that's the kind of building that if it was in Chicago, it would be on the historic registry, and it would, it would be in the tourist guides, like the Rookery. Places like that.
Well, I'll have to go in there because that's really
Did that
nice.
close again?
Yes, isn't that strange? It was a Taco Bell.
Yeah. It closed and it reopened a few years ago and then it closed again.
Yeah, and I didn't know if the top part was being leased out for lofts because it looks like a pretty decent space. I don't know how the building
Vienna
is.
beef hot dogs. I'm going to have to go in there.
Oh, I know. There's some
I used to
great
serve them in my
signs
bar.
here.
I used to serve the Vienna beef, what we call the bagel dogs. That's like a Chicago thing. Get a Vienna beef hot dog. It's got a natural casing.
Oh, is that what?
Oh, they're tasty. Like a hot dog.
Really?
Real tasty, yeah.
So Vienna has natural
Casings.
casing. Okay, what is that? Oh, you mean like
Natural casing is actually made from the lining of the pig's stomach.
Oh, so like plastic or something, right?
Well,
Or
yeah, it's
paper?
good. It's not paper. It's guts, is what it is. But it's what traditionally sausages were packed in.
So what are they packed in now?
Well, sometimes they pack them in. Heaven knows, it might be PCBs as far as we know. PVCs. Could be any one of a number of things.
Well, thank God for Vienna, huh?
When you look out your window, you see that sign that says Kresge's, don't you?
Yeah. Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's not it.
good.
That's not it.
Why did they just painted their
I don't know.
advertisement
I
there?
can't figure it out. But I'm going to show you where the original one was at.
Okay.
Theodore. You got to meet Theodore sometime, Ted.
Okay, I'll do that.
He's going to tell you stories that are going to blow your mind. He's going to tell you about when he worked for the CIA and all this stuff. We used to get Ted and John Zielinski, who was a jeweler, who was in the building upstairs from me until about 5 years ago. These two guys they would better each other, and with straight faces. I swear to God, John would say stuff like, "Yeah, I was out to Selfridge today, and I was flying an F-15 fighter jet." It's like this big, you know. And our question was, how did you fit into it?
How'd you get out?
Come on over this way here. This is the only clue I think that's left.
How y'all doing today?
Okay, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing? No, I don't have any change, hon. Sorry.
No problem.
That's the only clue right there.
Okay,
Store
wait.
number 1201 Woodward Avenue. This is the first Kresge's. Now I want you to know that this building was added on to a number of times. You know, it started out in a smaller incarnation and it was added to and added to. But this is the only clue right here. Store number 1.
Wow.
And you know what the Kresge Corporation was. You know what it is now.
No, I don't know what the Kresge.
Kmart Corporation.
Oh, so it started out as a Kresge here in Detroit or other
SS
places?
Kresge, the dime stores. They're at least in this area, the original dime stores. I don't know who else lays claim to that title, but in this area, they were the original dime stores. We had one at River Rouge. You know, or we went shopping at the dime store.
Wow.
You know, you got goldfish there, and you got hair clips, and you got bobby pins and bobby socks and athletic socks and the whole shebang. That was where we went shopping if we weren't doing the dog and coming downtown, you know.
Doing
In which
the dog.
case, yeah, in which case we had to dress up or whatever. And of course, that's the Kern clock left from when. That's the Kern block over there. That's what they refer to. If you ever hear them talking about the Kern block downtown, that's where the old Kern department store used to be, right there in that area there. And that's why that's all that's left of the old Kern
Is the clock?
department store is the clock. You used to have the Kern store there. You used to have the dime store here, or Kresge's. You had Hudson's. You had a big Crowley's down here. On this side, let me see, what was it on this side? Was it United Shirt? I'm starting to lose track of some of these things. But that Hudson's building, have you been to Chicago?
All right, yeah, I mean, good. Yes, what was I saying? 3 times I've been to Chicago.
Have you ever seen Marshall Field? It's nowhere near as big as that. I mean, that's a huge building. See, now this used to have, and I'm surprised you can't see some type of outline.
So this is the front of the Kresge building, right?
Pardon me?
This is the front of
Right.
the Kresge building?
Now you'll
Kresge?
see though, there's a couple of, at least a couple of buildings here. Now I'm not sure if it included just these two. It looks like it because the new facade is on just these two. Or if it included more than that. But if you look up there, look at the architecture. Isn't that beautiful?
Way up there? Oh yeah, that's real old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
then this-
assuming probably this was the original building because I'm pretty sure that Kresge's built these buildings and then they probably added that one and added on there. And then your original Sanders was someplace in here, and I'll be honest with you, I can't remember exactly where, and I used to go in it. But you know, after time, when the signs come down and identifying marks come down and different places moving it out, you know, it's hard.
Right,
The only way I've been able to keep track of the old Hollywood Theater, which is on 4th Street, is by some old railroad tracks. Because the landscape has changed so much, and I used to walk along there, and I know where the tracks are at in the old Baptist church, right by there.
So the train tracks lead you to the spot, eh?
Yeah, they're actually right by it. I might even show that to you. I think we're going to hop in the truck and do a little cruise in the truck too. This was the Woolworths. This was open for quite a few years after I had my bar
Woolworth
open.
building? This is like a dime store too.
Yeah,
like Kresge's,
exactly.
Right? I remember that because when I was growing up in Mount Clemens, there was one.
Yeah. And this was open until a few years ago. I used to shop in here, you know, even when I first opened my bar, I'd come down here, I'd go in here, and I'd go to the Colonial, which is in a different place now. You know the Colonial Market? They moved. They're where my friend's restaurant used to be.
Oh,
They're on the corner of State and Griswold, right?
Okay.
They used to be on the other side.
So that had moved. So that's been around for a while, Colonial. Then they're still hanging in there then, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're the only thing downtown. I mean, a lot of people I know who live downtown, like Larry,
Yeah, I go
worked
there
for
all
me.
the time.
Larry didn't have a car. So he would do his shopping. He'd come down to work early and he'd go over to, he knew those guys real well. You know, he'd go to the Perry drugstore. That's the Rite K building over there in the next corner. This was, shit, I forgot the name of it. Well, there were still people working in this building, and obviously it's vacant now, but I had customers that were coming in my bar that were working in that building as recently as about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. And it's, now, Winkleman, maybe it's Winkleman's. I probably have something in my book, in my truck.
Okay. Bizarre. You know, do you know what building that is?
No. But I would say if it didn't have a new facade on it, it's probably relatively new.
Wow.
Picture their headquarters in it?
No, actually, I don't even know anything about the Left Bank. What is it, a publication?
Yeah, it's a magazine. Came out. When at one point I had customers and employees living in every floor of the building. There was a couple guys that frequented my bar that were architects, lived on the second or third floor, and Danny Riviera, who worked for me as a bartender, and a bunch of his friends lived on the top floor, and a girl named Lisa lived on the second floor. Carl Ellison, I think, lived on the third floor. Now, that's a cool building. When I moved down here, that was Warren Sewing Center. They had their downtown branch on the first, second, and top floor.
Oh, he's mad at the world.
Well, I'm surprised that we never met and talked then, because I used to go in a lot. I sponsored a lot of his stuff.
I worked here for the first 2 months. I think it was open. I had a job in Southfield, so I just was working here part-time.
So you know the Tell Arts.
Okay.
I talked to Ray Parker about buying it a couple years ago. They wanted $300,000. They wanted like a $100,000 down payment. And they needed $150,000 put in it just to open the door. I thought to myself, you know, I'm going to spend every penny I have in the whole world to get this place going.
Yeah, no. No.
Here's a cool building. We could probably walk to the lobby. Have you ever been in here?
Wow. No. No video?
No, you can't do that.
No videotaping?
Take a video of the lobby?
No pictures in here.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Sorry, see. Bye-bye. Okay.
But just
I'll keep it as an artist. I won't try to make money on it.
she's just doing it for herself.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm an artist.
Is this unlocked over here?
yes, it
Can we
is.
go out here?
Oh, God. See, you put me on camera. You shouldn't do that.
Just smile. She's been doing it to me. I keep telling her, no, I don't want to be in it.
Okay, we're out of here.
Around the time that I opened my bar, the Debbie and Dave Gorilla bought this building there from New York. And it was another one of the touted renaissances downtown. They bought this, and they did do pretty well in terms of getting tenants in there. And they were having like concerts in the lobby, you know, and then George Nanambi. Do you know George Nanambi? Has the art gallery in Birmingham.
I think so.
He used to have an art gallery and a little restaurant right here where the Market Cafe is at. You know, and they had the Caddy Awards in there one time, you know, the awards for probably in the 60s. But they left the interior. The interior looks cool.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I mean, it stunk. I thought it smelled like pee, and the lobby was dirty.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
and it used to
actually,
be
I smelled
spotless.
incense somewhere, so maybe that's what I thought you were talking about that. Yeah, no, they're probably not fixing it up, keeping it up. Listen, I came down here when it was gone.
All right, I'll show it to you. I had a friend who swore that he was going to buy that building and rehab it. And I mean, the guy had zero money. And I told him, I says, well, you may, but you're going to have to do a whole lot of finagling financially because it's going to cost millions to redo this building. And he swore, he worked on it for a long time, and then they ended up tearing it down. Instead of doing the things for small businesses that they need, like tax cuts, getting cops out, getting honest inspectors, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
in helping the business climate, they were doing shit like this. They're putting money into putting this, most people very derogatorily refer to this as the Tinker Toys. You know, they do. They do what they say. Back in the 70s, I met him at Piper's Alley, which is now called Floods.
Okay.
And he had a boutique, and it was right in here, and I can't remember exactly where, because everything's changed so much. It was called the Monkey Boutique, and his name was Ali. He was Indian. And he had a cool little boutique here, and he went out of business. And I remember him complaining, they're driving me out of business, because they had all this construction going on, and you didn't have the cars couldn't pull up to the park and get out and go up and
Right.
shop. They had to park all the way over there. They had to trudge through the construction. It was terrible. The city mismanaged that terribly. They literally drove these businesses out. Now you know what this is, right?
No.
This is the headquarters of Archdiocese of Detroit. Chancery. Where the Cardinals' offices are at.
In Detroit here? I didn't even know we had Cardinal offices in Detroit.
Cardinal Maida. The Cardinal is the head honcho in Detroit.
Okay.
In this case, his name is Maida, M-A-I-D-A.
Okay, so this guy's a head honcho.
He's the head honcho of the Catholic Church
This
in
means
Detroit.
he has lots of money, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Even though he took a vow of poverty, he lives in a mansion, and
Oh,
he tells women what to do with their bodies, and he tells poor people that they should work harder to make a living.
oh, this is the man with all the money, eh?
Yeah.
The man who's supposed to live
Well,
in the
I'll take you sometime and show you 4 or 5 homes in the Detroit area that bishops and cardinals have lived in that are the most elegant, opulent, biggest homes in the entire Detroit area. And you tell
Wow.
me how if somebody
Yeah.
who took a vow of poverty should be living in a home like that. I don't care if 20 other people were living in there with them, you know. St. Aloysius Church, which is really like, you know, it's the downtown church, supposedly the headquarters of the Catholic Church in terms of the actual church itself in the Detroit area is the Blessed Sacrament Cathedral, because the Cardinal's home is right there. But this is the one that's by the offices. So, okay, and that is my favorite building on the exterior downtown.
Oh, the
I love
brick
that.
building,
Look at the
yeah.
columns. Look at all the beautiful architecture up there. Most people don't even notice, you know. Columns and there's gargoyles. You've seen the gargoyles. You can see them.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
I
and
saw
then,
him.
and then the
They're
women up
beautiful.
there, and then the gargoyles are there. Oh, you can see them if you walk underneath. So that's the book tower, and that's the book building.
Okay.
Okay. And this is the book Cadillac. For many years known as the Sheridan Cadillac, and then it reverted to book Cadillac at some point about 20 years ago.
I should have been filming it. I'm watching them the whole time.
You know, I haven't been in, well, I've been in the building, but I haven't been up to the top in about probably 6 or 7 years. But I was up there and you could see the falcons nesting up there. If you went up to certain places, peregrine falcons.
Oh my God, way up there?
Yep. Well, they planted them, you know. Did you know that they actually brought some mating pairs of falcons downtown?
No.
Yeah, and they planted them down here because they figured this is a good environment for them. They've got high places to nest, you know, and so apparently they've done real well because, I mean, I've read regular updates on the falcons. And
City.
yeah, when I went up there, like I said, 6 or 7 years ago, that was right at the when they had initiated the project.
Whoa.
Well, you'll hear them too. Sometimes you'll hear a screeching. It's interesting that a lot of these animals
Uh-huh.
that you associate with, you know, like canyons and forests and stuff like that,
Right.
and nature other than urban nature, do so well in the city. And raccoons are another example. I have some friends who live right next to the Lodge Freeway. And we were in August one year, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, we were out in the backyard there, a whole bunch of us having a birthday party, barbecue, picnic. And everybody went in the house and I was sitting there by myself for a minute and I kept seeing these little things out of the side of my eye and I thought they were kittens wrestling. I looked over and they were baby raccoons. And when I told Tim about it, my friend who lives there, he says, oh yeah, they live in the vacant house next door. And there's a whole lot of them there, you know. I actually have a couple in my neighborhood I see all the time. They feed in Wendy's dumpster. So, you know, animals have a great adaptability.
Yeah, they do. They have to survive. They have to find it some way. Yeah.
Which is going to be torn down.
This is the old book, Share. It's going to be torn down?
Yeah, this is coming down.
Oh my God, can we grab those gargoyles up there? Jeez.
Well, some of this is known for, you know, when presidents came into town and foreign dignitaries, they stayed at the book Cadillac.
And now it's like this.
Yeah, and I've got pictures of this when it was open, 84 World Series that I took from along the avenue here because we walked up to the corner. It used to be called C'est Si Bon.
And that was your favorite restaurant?
Well, it was one of them. It was a little, you know, like you had a glass counter, you can go in and pick sandwiches out of it, and they had little desserts, but it was very good. Everything they did was done very tasty and very fresh and very unique. And that closed about 9 years ago. And then there used to be a bar back here. It's been closed for about 20 years that I used to go to. It's called Danny's Gin Mill. And it was downstairs, and I can't remember now exactly. Let me see here.
Danny's Gin
I think it was right here. I think you go in here and then go downstairs.
It was a cool joint. After hours or regular, or?
I think you would go in here and go down the steps. Well, it was just a cool joint. I don't remember being in there after hours. A lot of places I remember being in after hours, but I don't particularly here.
What up? We gigging. Hey, can I get a sweet gig? This is Cameron. Just Cameron. They call me Casper. What the motherfucking on me? No sign, just tag.
Why you gotta have a camera on everybody?
You don't want it on you?
Well, not really. I just want to know what you're doing for.
I'm an artist.
Oh, you're an artist?
Yeah, I like to film people.
Yeah.
My name is Sabrina. This is Molly. We're best friends.
My name is
And they call me Casper. I'm the ghost with the mostest hostess. You hear me, sis?
You got to that performing art school thing?
No, just do it on my own.
We are from the West Side.
What's that?
What's that? What that?
Hyde Park.
BG.
BG.
These is my joints and stuff. Bye-bye.
We just met them. They're crazy.
I love
See where Colonial is at now. My friends Tim and Sarah used to have a restaurant in there. It was called Sarah's State Street Market and Cafe. And they closed about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. They also had a restaurant where the Cafe Harmony is at, next to Intermezzo. And their place was called Harmony, Cafe Harmony. They were that was their restaurant in the mid.
So what is the Whitney again?
This was the publication of the Whitney building.
Oh, okay.
Put out by customers, you know, people that hung out at my bar that worked in the Whitney building. And let me see, October '85. Let's see here, the David Whitney building, where classic elegance meets the future. And this is a rendering by Burnham and Company architects of the refurbished lobby, which apparently never happened. I mean, I think they cleaned it up a bit, but I don't think they ever refurbished. Profiles around the park. Now, Larry Thompson was my bartender. He wrote an article. Oh, look at, see, Sarah George McKay, Sarah State Street Market and Cafe, 1149 Griswold, corner of State, which is right where Colonial Toys is at. That's interesting.
So this was a stray dog, right?
Yep.
Oh man, so somebody's taking it over apparently, huh?
No. Just still hasn't happened. The one with the, this one right here was a straight dog.
Yeah, this one right here, right. This is called Corktown, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Corktown because this was the original Irish settlement in Detroit. It's long since lost its Irish majority, but it's still probably one of the more solid, close-knit communities in the city. And really, it only consists of, maybe 8 square blocks. Probably not even that. Probably more like 5 square blocks. I have some friends who live in this building that you're filming right now.
They've lived there for a long time?
Actually, no. I think Greg may have been there for 8 or 10 years, but I know other people who lived there a longer time ago than that, who since left.
I mean, it's next to these nice houses in Corktown.
I have a friend who owns this house here that's on the right that is all shredded up, all the paper on the side here with the pink doors.
Yeah.
We're coming up to it now.
Oh, this one right here?
Robert owns that. He lives in it, and it really is a fabulous house. It's just like a lot of homes, he hasn't completed the exterior.
Wow.
But the construction of that is better than a home in Bloomfield. He's got like 12-inch studs. He's got plumbing, you wouldn't believe, insulation.
You mean he's really fixed it up?
Owns this house here, all the No News Free Press sign in the window.
So
She's a firefighter in Detroit. She bought that about 8 or 10 years ago. This was the Tiger Stadium Fan Club headquarters for a long time, 1401. This building with the blankets in the window. I don't know what it is now, but I wrote into the Metro Times when they had their best of. I put best unsung hero, Frank Rashid, Tiger Stadium. I have some friends who live in this house right here.
what, this brown one?
Right here. The one with the white with brown trim.
Yeah.
Marcy works for the Michigan Opera Theater and Lee works for Hudson's. This is Carrie's place right here.
But this is bed and breakfast
Yeah.
right here?
Yeah, 1257.
Wow, that's really cool.
This one here is a bed and breakfast also, up on the left here.
Left?
The one right on the corner.
On the
And I
corner?
guess the guys who own it live next door. This is John Prusak's house, the film, the filmmaker.
That's his house right
The
there?
gray and white one right there.
Wow.
This is his house.
Oh, that's
This
really
old
nice.
firehouse, which I love this building, this is a law
Yeah.
firm now.
I'll be damned, it's a law firm, huh?
Yeah,
There's the
they redid that. I wanted that building for years. And another building I've wanted for years, and I almost cried when I was told how much the guy paid for it, is this one right here. This guy from Windsor bought it. I heard he paid under $100,000. If I could have got this building for under $100,000. I used to take the train from that building to Chicago. Cover their glasses. See, what you used to do is when you come down here to take the train, you'd park, okay, various places around here or in front or whatever. You go into the, have you been in there?
No, I've never been inside the train station. I want to be.
I don't want to go in there.
Not right now, no, but I mean, one of these days.
Sometime I'll drive you by there if you want to go in, but it's just, I want to cry when I look at it. Because I've been in there as recently as 7, 8 years ago. And it was still in decent shape then. The windows weren't all broken out. It hadn't been pillaged.
And now it's all pillaged, eh?
Everything's gone. As recently as about 88 or 89 on Preservation Day, a woman who was a friend and a customer at the Stray Dog was involved with Preservation Day, and her thing on that particular Preservation Day was having this open to visitors. And at that time, a guy had bought the option or bought the building. I can't remember. It was called the Great Lakes. His company's called Great Lakes World Trade Center, and he was proposing to make that a trade center there because of its proximity to Canada and its proximity to the train tunnel and the railroad tracks and the trucking and the auto industry and everything else. And it had been successfully guarded from the vandals.
So they still use one tunnel then?
Yep. Can you guess which one?
The one with the red lights, right? The one on the
Well,
right.
Which one has red lights?
The
Well,
one
look
on
at
the
the
right?
tracks. Look at the tracks.
Let's see. Ooh, my camera's playing games. Doesn't want to focus. The tracks. Yeah, the one to the right. Because it's going in there.
Well,
No, it's the one.
look at the rails.
The ones that have been. That's right. Because those have been used.
Yeah.
The train's been on those. Were the
Yeah.
ones. Those are rusty. Right. Okay.
I've got some pictures of us down in the tunnel. Of course, it's just goofy shit. Like I'm taking a pee at the sign that says International Boundary. So I tell people, yeah, I peed from Detroit to Windsor. You know, goofy shit. You know, we remember the Michigan Gallery?
Yeah. What? It used to be here.
No, but they used to have shows in here.
Wow.
Because Marshall was like a board member of the Michigan Gallery, and he owned some buildings across the street.
Really? My God. So this is like 200 years old.
The church is 100 and some years old, I think. That'd be at least 100.
Oh, some of these are beautiful. This is nice.
Have you ever been in, we didn't even know it existed. I was asking if you've ever been to church here. I'm not too big on Catholicism. I was raised Catholic, but for that matter, any organized religion I'm not too big on. But I come to church here just to see the building. So that makes this almost 300 years old. Patron saint, Saint Anne, patron saint of New France. Father Francois Vallon, the Jesuit, Father Nicholas Constantine Del Hall, Franciscan, were instrumental in the founding of the parish. Church records, which date from 1704, are now the second oldest continuous Roman Catholic parish records in the nation. From 1833 to 1844, Saint's eighth home was laid in 1886. All right, so it's over 100 years old. A handsome structure designed by parishioner Leon Coquart displays the old with machine shops, tool and die shops, little chemical companies that specialize in certain types of chemicals for certain factories or certain industries, you know, paper recycling, that's what this is. And so much of the stuff is gone. This is the Detroit News paper warehouse here. And when I was a kid, in fact, I would say until recently, maybe 10, 12 years ago, maybe ships still tie up here, I don't know. You know, they used to tie up here and unload paper. I also worked at a paper mill downriver, and I'll show you that on one of our next tours. It was called Scott Paper then, I think it's called St. Mary's now, where they actually brought log steel, Hannah blast furnace, Lipset steel, Whitehead and Kales, on and on and on. This is Jefferson Avenue, which they cut off for Detroit Marine Terminals. They used to run right through here. This is Detroit Marine Terminals. This is where the ships come in and unload. The port.
Okay. But you're saying that you could walk down and get a job. Say that again? You could
You could walk in any direction 5 or 6 blocks and get a job without any problem, making $3 an hour, which back then was like making $20 an hour now. I mean, it was literally, you know.
And this was like what area
This
again?
was this is Southwest Detroit, River Rouge.
Okay.
Now they're paying people $10 a week to do what they used to pay $10 an hour for in this country.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's true.
And at the same time, it's terrible that they're only making $10 a week. They think it's wonderful.